Hey everybody, it's Chuck. Welcome back. Well, 12.3.4 got pushed out earlier this week, and I was on a work trip and wasn't with my car, so I just got to talk about it and watch everyone else watch full self-driving supervised. I'm calling it supervised full self-driving just because it rolls off better. Anyway, this build is 2024.3.15, so we are in the 2024 branch. And it is an iteration from 12.3.3. Those of you that remember last week, I posted on X that I saw the ADAS drivers and was predicting that we would have something out to employees within a week, and here we are. So that timeline is starting to mature a little bit to where when we see these drivers out here validating, at least on the turn, we kind of know something is getting ready to go out to employees. I am not an employee, but I did get one of the early releases, but it does look like it went out to many, many different testers also. So this is the first impressions drive route I did on the previous versions. So we'll just use the same one. Get out there, drive it around, see what it looks like. I will say early impressions are that not much has been really changed. Most of the complaints on the previous version were about the auto speed not quite being where it needed to be. I have not heard any major improvements there. Still some risk around taking tight corners and possibly putting some risk to your rims, so be careful with that. And also perhaps a little bit of navigation regression with some map data I've heard from some other folks. So anyway, let's go ahead and engage it and see what we got. It is really, really amazing how fast they are turning out this software. Whether or not it's the compute, whether or not it's, now that they're on a solid end-to-end platform, they're, it's a lot less work or whatever it is, it's really, really exciting to see here. All right, so here's our unprotected left with just the 360 view and left view. There's our NHTSA stop. It is Saturday morning at 8:15, so traffic is going to be medium. But it looks like we did get a scenario to slightly pause there. There are some cars coming from the right. It's clear to the left. Oh, it waited there. Oh, it used to definitely go for that one. But maybe these cars from the right made him wait. So I'm wide open to the left. I can do whatever I want, and it can do a roller with a commit. Is it going to go? Oh, God, no. Oh, it went out so far, it pushed him over. That was uncomfortable. I'm going to go ahead and flash that and say, I stuck my nose out, and that car that was in this left lane saw me creeping out, and he changed lanes into the middle. So let me change my route here so I don't get too far away before my U-turn gets programmed. And there's our U-turn. It didn't wait in the median in the right spot there. So that was actually a little bit of a regression, or the scenario it created itself. All right, so here's our full U-turn map there. Unable to complete maneuver, and let's see what it does. Oh, wow, where's it going? Okay, this is not the place to do a U-turn. It's still mapping a U-turn. Is it going to go into that intersection? There is a car waiting over here. He does not have his blinker on, so he must be turning to the, I don't know what he's doing. Okay, let's see what it does. Okay, all right, I had to disengage there because of right-of-way. That car was turning right. I was doing a U-turn. It was going to try the U-turn. That car, basically we got to a stalemate in the middle of the road. Had I let that progress and that car had waited, it probably would have successfully completed the maneuver. Okay, re-engaging here. So this is essentially a right turn here onto Roosevelt, and it's wide open. Okay, so let's talk about what just happened there. I had my blinker on, but of course at an intersection, a blinker does not indicate a U-turn or a left turn. So that other driver who was there did not have his blinker on, and I didn't know if he was coming into the median or taking a right turn. So him not having his blinker on confused me a little bit. I think that, unfortunately, once I started to do the U-turn, he started to do the right turn. I think because I was in the median, I had the right-of-way, but because he started rolling, the ego stopped in the middle of the intersection, and I did not want that to evolve into a further scenario in the middle of this road where cars are going very, very fast. So that was just a safety driver intervention. More than likely, if that car had quickly stopped when he realized I was doing a U-turn, ego hopefully would have still had enough room to complete it and everything would have proceeded. But if you're out there driving scenarios like this, if there is any risk of a situation in a high-speed traffic way, just don't let it go that far. This is level 2 driving here. You are in charge of the car, and you have to make sure you don't get yourself and your vehicle and anyone else in a dangerous situation. That's my opinion, that's my experience, but I do think it probably would have worked. But the combination of unable to complete maneuver this week versus last week, and then the blinker situation, I love the way these scenarios evolve. So, actually, devolve might have been the right word for that one. So, anyway, we can talk about that in the comments. Let me know what you think. Okay, we're taking the left-hand turn here on Birkenhead. It's a flashing yellow. Looks like we're going to have no opposing traffic if we continue to go. Okay, now there is an opposing car coming. We have time if we roll it. It looks like it is going to roll it. And let's see if it slows down for the railroad tracks. Here's 2019. So it did acknowledge the railroad tracks a little bit. And now we're on the narrow roads with some speed bump scenario here, and we might have one opposing car coming up, which is good. It's this time of the day, the traffic is light-ish. So here's a stop with a needed creep due to some bushes, and we have a car that snuck in from the right. That was a great scenario for the creep, and it did that just fine, and now we're creeping and proceeding. Good. So it handled that well. There's plenty of room for the creep to work there, but it does have to use the creep. First speed bump is right here. Good. Now, here's our first opposing car. How much is it using? Perfect. It used to freak out at that. Okay, I'm putting the rear view cameras up so you can see how much of the road to the right it's using or not using. And here we go. This interchange happened at an intersection, so it just chose to wait until he went by. And we're going to get, oh, this is great. We're getting one more opposing car here on the road. Good. I would even say it used, I think on 12.3, it used more of the road than it did there. It felt like he was holding his ground rather than kind of both cars going towards the edge there. If you notice on the road edge on that, it really didn't budge over to the right. That might be a slight change in this build, adding a little bit more buffer to the right. Okay, it looks like that might be the last bit of opposing traffic we get here. We have one more speed bump, a left turn into the suicide lane without a median. And it's going nice and slow here, 20. I wonder if it's the shading and lighting here creating that. I don't mind. I mean, it's fine. We're slowing down for that speed bump that it did just fine. But it felt a little slower than I remember it. But that's fine. It's a small neighborhood with driveways coming right out. Okay, here's the quick view. It even is mapped to go into the suicide lane a little bit if you see this map data here. Okay, so let me get up here and go to the creep. We do have opposing cars coming from the left, and the right is wide open. So now it should creep a little further and just go. Watch how it goes into the turn lane here, just like it's mapped, and then it goes over. Oh, wow, what's it doing there? 5. What's it doing? Where's it going? Oh, God. It's coming to a complete stop. There's no cars behind me. I'm letting this evolve. Oh, look at my max speed set to 5. Guys, I'm on a 40-mile-an-hour road here. There's nobody behind me. I'm just going to kind of see what happens here. I'm going to change my route here also. Okay, pressing the accelerator, the auto speed to 5 there. I don't know how that happened. Now it's mapping over here. So this is going back to this map data rumor I've heard for this version. So that was not there last week, guys. You go back and look at last week's video. That was not there. So slowing down to 5, that was just dangerous if you're not expecting it. Okay, unprotected left coming from the front. These cars are coming over a hill. Okay, there's a nice gap with a good commit there. Perfect, that's fine. That's good. There was another car, but he was going much slower, and it calculated the trajectory accurately. All right, so here's a 30-mile-an-hour road. Good markings on both the right and the left with the double line and the white line, and it's choosing to go 40 here. I bet the people living on this road think that's too fast because they have, driveways they're trying to back out of. But I did this road yesterday without the camera rolling, and I want you to watch how it uses these turns to adjust it here. It usually slows down as these turns come in. Now I have a lead car going to slow me down, so you're not going to get to see it. So Now we're down to 35. This is about the right speed we should be going, just like this local vehicle is showing us. Yeah, not much to say there. So while we're kind of on this section, unless something comes up, big news of the week, they dropped the price of the FSD subscription in half. $99 for Supervised FSD. That is about right on the price point, I think. For a long time, I've said, listen, if you're at the entry level part of the market coming in buying a used Model 3 or some lower, cost vehicle taking advantage of the EV tax credit, a $12,000 FSD price or a $200 a month price is a significant portion of the percentage of your vehicle, and it's just too costly for what you're getting. This is not a vehicle that's earning you any money. It's definitely not a vehicle that's appreciating at the moment, and we've been told it's appreciating for a long time. That has not manifested itself. So anyone that was taking investment advice from Tesla saying their car was going to be worth more, hey, this is not investment advice. These cars don't appreciate. I need to edit the route here, see if I do it fast enough while I'm talking. So my point in saying is that $99 a month is really affordable for what you're getting. And I do think that price may stick. A little bit lower would get more people, but for what you're getting with the level 2, almost level 3 quality driving here, going over some railroad tracks. Last week it slowed down nicely. There's the slowdown. Good. See, the assets are still not there showing railroad tracks, but it treated it like a railroad track with good speed. I think it's going to get a lot more people driving it, and it's in conjunction with the trial that is currently being offered in the United States and Canada, which I think it could really hook some people that like it or want to continue to try it. And $99 a month versus a one-time subscription of $12,000, which has not changed yet, which is a little bit of a bifurcation of the strategy, in my opinion, if they don't change it, does allow people to get in and out. And it also currently allows you to switch vehicles or to manage your costs if you needed to keep your prices down. Okay, going straight into the sun here, so I'm pulling my hat down, but I'm going to leave the screen open so you can see outside. Didn't get any visibility concerns there with the front camera. Yeah, so if anyone on this video wants to know if I think they should go for it, the answer is absolutely yes, you should, because it's very low cost of entry, and you get to try it, and you can turn it off if it's not for you or if you don't use it. Just like managing your Netflix subscription and your Hulu subscription and your Disney Plus subscription, whatever you subscribe to, it's your choice. You get to decide when to turn it on or off. Now, I will say, some people might go out and subscribe right now, and they're going to get a version 11.4.9 that's going to come down to their car, and they're going to be like, whoa, I wanted version 12. I'm going to show you here. If you go to your software here, look what build we are on. We are on build 2024.3.15. If you have a build on your car that is later than that, that 3 stands for the 3rd week of the month. So this build was started in the 3rd week of January. That number after that is the point release of that build that started on the 3rd week of January. Most of the builds going out to other cars and currently going to my Cybertruck is 2024.8 something. That release is further in advance than the current FSD build. So they can't send you FSD 12.3.4 or even 12.3.3 because this build is behind your current build. So that's just the way the logic works. Sometimes there's a strategy to not taking the latest updates if you want to be able to jump onto the FSD build because you need to be essentially behind the release they want to send you. So I did see some people that were bummed that they got sent 11.4.9. Well, that was because that was the only FSD release that was available that was for your build branch that you're on. Okay, here's a little quick roundabout. Let's see if okay, that guy, it did that fine. Perfect yields. It was a little bit busy, had a lot of interactions, but it rolled it. That was really great. Did not come to a stop. And we got a small little right turn here before our S-turn. Sorry, my voice is not perfect today. I've had a long week with a lot of late nights. And I have still not quite recovered from talking so much. Took the Cybertruck down to Orlando this week, and a lot of people got to see it, touch it, get in it, ride in it. a lot of excitement. Okay, here we're going 25 and a 30. Feels a little slow to me, but so this is the auto speed conversation we're talking about a little bit too low in some areas, a little bit too high in others. I'm in a double line, well marked, wide roads. It should feel comfortable going at least the speed limit. Now it is. Okay, so coming up on the S curves, looks good here. I'm gonna go ahead and edit my trip again. All right, the S-curves have been fixed in FSD 12. It used to use blinkers here on these sharp turns that went over 90 degrees. Good slowdown there for that traffic scenario. That felt very, very good. Okay, and the route does have its plan to go through Avondale. Might have the opportunity for some pedestrians, VRUs, and things like that. Here we are going 24 in a 30. Nobody behind me, feels slow again. 26, so the auto speed logic is safe, but not quite human-like, in my opinion, and that matches what others have said also. Believe me, if there were kids and bikes and dogs and everything running around, I understand it, but here it's kind of light traffic, nobody's coming. All right, and it looks like Avondale's going to be a pretty quiet morning. This morning, we got a couple green lights here, but you do have to be very cautious of these cars on the right putting their reverse lights on and backing out of the intersection to try to get out. They are usually blind when they back out in that scenario. And these pedestrian crosswalks, you know, we do have a guy over here that, no, he's not in the crosswalk. I was going to say he was standing on the road. If he was at the crosswalk, it should have started to think about stopping for him. Okay, speed limit of 20 is inaccurate there. This is a 30. I guess this sign here will catch it up. And we do have a lead car in front of us here that is kind of controlling the speed anyway. Had a VRU walk in front of that other car. He was mapped. But so far, everything's felt pretty smooth. I did not like the U-turn interaction. I did not like the unprotected left pause location in an unsafe situation, putting my vehicle into the roadway that caused the other car to go around us at high speed. So far, this is not getting quite the enthusiasm I had on the previous version. But just because that previous version was so rock solid on this drive, this exact drive. All right, got a little bit of a trash bin here. Let's see, does it give it any room? Yeah, I gave it a little bit of room. Definitely did not cross the line as that other car was opposing or anything there. Flashing yellow lights. Doesn't look like we have any traffic, so it should just roll straight through. Yeah, so what else? What's other sort of things to talk about? The Cybertruck is still doing great. Still love it. Everything is working great. Software update. We did get a software update on the truck this week. It just said minor fixes. Still do not have full self-driving on the Cybertruck. Not sure. I kind of poked out at a few folks on X to see if I could get an answer or a timeline or even a quarter that it is expected to be released. No answer on that. You know, when we bought the cars, we did get notified that PowerShare would be available by June. So who knows? Maybe some of these larger functionality releases, such as PowerShare, could include some larger releases. Maybe that's an internal target to marry up with, but I don't know. I have not had PowerShare installed on the house yet, mostly because the car is not able to do it. And I'm not ready to have a contractor come out and do some stuff because we might be doing some remodeling and I don't want to have to do that job twice. I do think that the next thing, you know, we're on version 12. We are iterating. We do have some things that we need to continue and fix here. But actual smart summon and auto park, these are functions that, you know, I think we're really waiting to come to fruition here. Should do a right hand on red here with no traffic. Let's see if that goes smoothly. Got a green light, so it's proceeding there. So, you know, 12.5, whatever version it is, it obviously wasn't 12.4. I will do an auto park here at Memorial Drive just to verify that the stack did not change to the high definition stack. Got a car here with a cone, flashing lights. It should just go wide around that. That was great. Did not have any mapped flashers on that parked car, even though they were actually there. It just showed that as a static vehicle. But very smooth and human-like in its corrections around those parked vehicles. I think we have many problems with that. There's plenty of training data. A couple potholes right here. It hit it square on, so potholes have not been fixed. I'm looking down with my hat, and the screen is complaining. I'm definitely looking straight ahead. I'm using the brim of my hat to not look straight in the sun. And you saw that that warning there. All right, so this is pretty straightforward. There's not much to say here. As we turn right up here for the Memorial Park parking spot, I'm going to go ahead and go out by the river and use those. Ooh, look how this gentleman walked right up. But it saw his trajectory and did not even flinch. Version 11 would have flinched at that for sure. All right, should be, oh gosh, look at this. Oh, it went right over the soft edge of that curb. So it did not, it took a very, 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 very tight corner on that curb. It worked mostly because it was a shallow wheelchair accessible curve. All right, so now it's going around. It should remap here. And let's see what it does. It wants to do a U-turn, it looks like, but I'm gonna continue to let it just kind of crawl here. Now it's remapped it. I'm gonna disengage and do parking out here if I can get a spot here on the river. Let's see. It's going 14 and a 25. A little surprising it's going that slow. I'm going to go ahead and disengage and let's see if it'll see any of these spots. It does say reserved, but let's see if it'll grab that one right there. Didn't see it. Oh, there it is. Very slow. So this feels like the old stack for sure. All right, we're in reverse. We're starting. So here's the visualization. It's using the old stack. The high definition auto park is not in version 12.3.4 on my 2020 Model Y that has ultrasonic sensors. Okay, yeah, it's going to need a two-turner here. Kind of very slow and painful to watch, but it does it pretty accurately. It usually gets itself pretty close to the center, and it looks like it's going to here also. And it puts it in park. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and put it in drive, and as soon as my route comes up, and it is up, it is available, so I'm going to just go ahead and engage it. Now it needs to creep out of this spot slowly. Now it can start to see with the B-pillars, and here we go. Very cautious, that's okay. It was taking its time, and it pulled out, and now it's we're heading back to the return. So here we are, 11 in a 25. Feels too slow. So auto speed here again, not what I would want. I feel like I need to be going at least 20 here. Just gonna let it do its thing because I don't have anybody around me. A little bit more work on auto speed. I don't know what it needs to get these fixed. Is this a setting? Is this a weight? Is this training videos? There's a lot of questions on the new end-to-end on how to adjust these items. Okay, we got a stop sign here. It does a really good job on this intersection. I've talked about it before. We do have a city vehicle with flashing lights. That's not an emergency vehicle, but his lights are flashing, and you can see we don't have any flashing assets. We have a fast car approaching from the left. If it gets its nose out, it'll go. Good, that worked out fine. This corner, he was coming around pretty fast, but the corner slowed him down to where the trajectory was very easy to see we were going to make it. Okay. So now we're essentially just kind of returning on this same road. Wow, did you see? Ooh, that was a little close. That car pulled off to the right. We didn't flinch on our trajectory, but yeah, it should have gone around a little bit. I don't know why it didn't in that situation. Maybe the car was assuming he was going to continue his speed in that turn, but when he decided to slow down in that turn, we never adjusted. Our cars got closer than they should have for that scenario, and especially the speed I was going. I'll bet if you look back, my ultrasonic sensors even, showed the distance and how close we were with the color of the arc there. I've seen some scenarios like that develop in the past where you're joining and it gets uncomfortably close to a car, almost like it's making an assumption on the speed that other car should be going, and it has a latent decision to decide, whoa, it's not actually doing what I thought. That was one of those scenarios with a different entry point into that. You guys see me talking with my hands like a pilot. Entry point into the scenario, but something to be careful of. This goes back to why we're here. We're supervising this car. It is good, but it still does some things that are just a little bit janky at times. Okay, that was good. Through that green light, nice slowdowns here. Sometimes I like to see how it handles this curve, if cars parked there, if it uses that yellow line a little bit. It did, just a little bit. Didn't cross it, didn't need to cross it, but it did encroach it just a bit. Lots of parked cars on this street, and they're actually parked on the street, so the awareness of doors opening, of pedestrians approaching, like you see that woman there, she was actually mapped. It's something that the car just has to be constantly aware of, so it needs to just kind of give them room. So if a kid ran out into the street or a passenger cracked the door open or something, it would adjust appropriately. Pedestrian over here, not a trajectory it needed to be dealt with, but it at least is mapping all of the VRUs, even if they're not right at the edges of the road. Flashing yellow hidden behind the trees here, just starting to become visible. And there's the light, and it is showing, so I knew the light was there because I could see it flashing. I don't think we saw it flashing until it kind of came out from the trees there. A couple pedestrians approaching here. They're waiting, but you see how they're stopping. But because they stopped, the car didn't calculate their trajectory entering the road, and it took the right of way. All right, we've got a soft right here to a stop sign, and then joining for a quick right and then a left at the light. Ooh, wow. That threw me back in my seat. That was not a smooth stop. That was like it miscalculated its regen and realized it had to throw the brakes on. That was uncomfortable. Unprotected left here because we don't have an arrow. It's green. Waited on that car. That was just fine. Wow, that stop really surprised me. This build has just been known for being so smooth. It's like that stop sign caught it off guard. I have to go back and see if the stop sign was mapped or if it saw it very, very late and then realized it had to honor the stop. That's the way it acted. It acted like it didn't know it was there until it saw it, and then it had to honor it. Car came out of this flashing yellow here. That car would have had a flashing red, and see, we are slowing down, but mostly because of that car who jumped in and is still rolling. See how he's rolling? It's almost like he didn't come to a stop. That was interesting. It handled it just fine. Maybe could have given him a little bit more room by encroaching on the yellow double line a little bit, but it did. But because he was rolling, he had a trajectory that it still needed to calculate as a moving vehicle, not a car on the curb. All right, next thing, and once again, I'm driving on a non-school day. We do have a school zone that has a when flashing, the speed limit goes to 15. You do have the warning signs with the bright yellow signs that are warning about a school crossing. So there are adequate visual warnings, but none of them are mapped yet. Here's the light up here that's not flashing. It does render it as a stoplight, but doesn't have any visual indications. that it's a school zone, and you can see our auto set is still at the normal speed. And there's the end school zone sign, so if it was slowing down, it could speed back up to the normal speed there. Should just be a roller here on this turn. Yep, okay. And it looks like this next turn is part of the traffic circle is going to be without any sort of vehicles to contend with, so it should just roll them. Okay, this car's coming in, but we have the right of way as long as it worked there, and he didn't end up coming all the way around anyway, so that was perfect. All right, so now we're going 20 into 30 after leaving the roundabout, and it feels slow again. 22, wide roads, well marked with the double line. I don't know why it's being careful on these roads. And now we're slowly speeding back up to the speed limit. I'm not sure how to put that in there. There's something that it's seeing that the auto speed is choosing to be careful about its approach up to the speed limit. Might be lighting, might be vehicles on the sides of the roads, parked, something like that. Have to continue to look at that. Okay, this is a protected left-hand turn, and it looks like I'm going to be first in line here, so I will be the one reacting to the light. And it needs to get all the way up to that stop line, slowly approaching it. Yeah, this is fine. It feels like it's a little bit further back. But while we're sitting at this intersection, there's a lot going on here at this intersection, and it's got multiple lanes. If you see, if we went straight across, it's got the railroad track intersection there. And here I'm pushing the screen down. All we have is just lights being represented. The light assets that are not railroad crossing intersections. It does have the entire intersection mapped correctly, even that little triangle there on the other side. So that is accurately being depicted in the visualization. Okay, we got our green arrow. It very quickly saw it. Let's see if it follows this line. Little slow on the turn there, but okay, too slow. There's another Tesla behind me. I don't know if I know the person or not, but it was too slow coming around that corner for the first person in a red light. And when I say the first person in a red light, if you're third or fourth or fifth in line, you kind of want to try to make the light, right? If the very first person is treating it like the intersection is completely theirs and they're slowly accelerating, more than likely you're going to keep 2 or 3 people from the end of the line from making that traffic signal. So that was my point about being slow. When you're the one controlling the speed, you're the one accelerating off the line, just do it with the acceleration curves that you've already shown you know how to do. There was a yellow line to even follow there, so I'm not sure why it was just slowly coming around that corner, unless it needed to map it and it just didn't have the confidence about where it was going because it was a turn instead of going straight. That could be the issue. We do have that Tesla that was behind me that's up here on the upper left, and to this point we're still not using any assets that are other than generic. There ought to be a point where we start mapping Teslas as Teslas on the visualization. Oh, look, we have a crow in the road here that this Tesla is having to wait for. That would have been awesome if we were in that lane to see how the Tesla would have reacted to that crow in the road. I bet it would have slowed down and stopped for it. Unfortunately, that wasn't our scenario to be had, but we did get to see how it happened with humans driving just to the left of us. And the car did slow down a little bit because of the cars around itself, but it was more reacting to them, I believe, than the crow. I don't know if that showed up on the visualization or not, but if it did, that would be great too, just to see there was something in the road that it mapped. 2 Teslas right here, side by side, and this is back to the visualization point. There ought to be special cars here on the visualization, since we own the software stack at Tesla. You know, okay, see how this car cut over here for that bicyclist? That was very human-like of the Tesla human driver there. And then we, of course, just had to react to him coming in and giving us the distance. It was very, very smooth. That was fine. Now we're jumping over into this left-hand lane here because we are upcoming on a turn. And Tesla AI, if you're still watching, I want you to see what I predict is going to happen. There is a turn lane just prior to this stoplight. the ego wants to get in that lane, but it very quickly corrects and does not. It's very repeatable. So there's something about the way this visualization maps itself that it goes over and comes back out. It's not this one, but watch, this next one it's going to go over. And there it is. It's going over and then it's coming back. It does it every single time. So I don't know what there is there, but it handled it just fine. But I imagine that if it does it here, there are probably countless scenarios. Unprotected, forward facing with a nice gap. It should just roll it. Back to my other point. It probably is doing that in a lot of places where turn lanes are teasing it when you're trying to hybridize vision and map data. I don't know how to tell you to solve it. I don't have a recommendation there, but I imagine that a lot of the lane problems we are having, that some people are saying it's getting stuck in this lane and stuck in that lane, it's that exact scenario right there that we have. Anyway, so here we are. We're done with this drive. This is a FSD supervised, or a supervised FSD version 12.3.4. I'm going to call this a slight regression from 12.3.3. I don't know what was changed under the hood, but it did not behave as well as 12.3.3. It was good, but my unprotected left started off a little scary. My U-turn created a situation. It did have unable to complete maneuver on the screen that it did not have last week. It just had a few speed situations that were not good. They weren't horrible, but they weren't as good as the previous versions in my mind. It is still a very smooth build, and it's a place to work from. So I'm still proud of where we are. I'm still proud of the work you guys are doing. But whatever it takes to make these tweaks, whether it's video data, tweaking some sort of parameters you have in an abstraction layer above it so that the weights can be modified just a little bit, things like that. I did feel a little bit more of a bias on narrow roads, that it didn't use as much of the road, but we also saw one situation where it cut the corner at Memorial Park, and had that been a raised curb, it would have gone right over the raised curb or come much too close, and we've had a lot of folks complaining about that. But hey, that's First Impressions FSDBeta version 12.3.4. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'll try to get an unprotected video out dedicated sometime, maybe tomorrow. Hopefully you guys enjoy that too. Have a great day, everybody.